Students, welcome back in the third and last part of the chapter 11 of social science. The name of the chapter is landforms. In previous sessions, we had already learned about the mountains, classification of mountains, plateaus, and classification of plateaus, along with the importance of mountains and plateaus. Now we will move ahead to the plains. Plains. Level land or flat land at the height of less than 180 meters above the sea level is known as plain. Now, I already taught you about that plateaus are the land which is raised from the sea level at the height of more than 180 meters above the sea level. But plains are the flat land at the height of less than 180 meters. Means they are flat or they are less than 180 meters. They are known as plain. Most of plains in the world are formed by the alluvial soil deposited by the rivers. Mostly plains are formed by the alluvial soil which is deposited by the rivers while through flowing. Apart from the rivers, some of the plains are also formed by wind, volcano and glaciers. Apart from these rivers, means plains are formed by the rivers, but apart from that, some plains are also formed by wind, volcano and glaciers. Now, let's move forward to the classification of plains. On the basis of construction, plains can be defined or classified as coastal plain, structural plain, erosional plain and depositional plain. So, let's move forward to coastal plain first. Such plains are mainly formed near the seashore when the end of the continental plain part of the land near seashore is uplifted due to the geological movement. These plains are formed. Now, how coastal plains are formed? So, the plains which are formed near the seashore and the land is little bit uplifted to the near the seashore due to the geological movements, such plains are called coastal plains. Such plains are also known as structural plains. This type of plains are often found in the coastal region. Coastal plains are also known as structural plains and these are found in the coastal regions only. Plains situated in the southeastern part of United States of America spreads up to the Gulf of Mexico. The best example of these coastal plains is southeastern part of USA which spreads up to the Gulf of Mexico. These are the coastal plains. It is an example of coastal plain. Erosion which occurs in the bottom of land creates such plains. Now, in coastal plains, erosion occurs in the bottom of the land and this erosion creates these plains. The plain in the center of Australia is formed in the same manner. Means this is also the example of coastal plains, plain in the center of Australia. Now next is erosional plain. Process of erosion goes on continuously on the surface of the earth over the long run of time. Process of erosion is a continuous process going on surface of earth and that is also a very long period of time. Such plains are formed due to the erosion which occurs in the mountains and plateaus because of natural factors like river, wind and glaciers. So these erosional plains are formed due to the erosion, and this erosion occurs in mountains and plateaus, and the factors for this erosion are the natural factors like river, wind and glaciers. This type of plains are not completely flat, but they are seen between hills of solid rocks. Now these erosional plains are not the flat plains like coastal plains. These are seen between hills of solid rocks. Plains of Canada and western Siberia are formed because of erosion. Plains built by erosion are also called peneplain. These erosion plains are also called peneplain, and the best examples of these plains are plains of Canada and western Siberia. Now let's move forward to depositional plain. This type of plain is formed because of alluvium deposited by rivers, glaciers, wind, etc. in lakes or seas. Now, according to their name, these plains are formed by the deposition of rivers, glaciers, and wind, etc. These factors deposit alluvium in lakes or seas. So by this process, these plains are called depositional plain, and also these plains are called riverine plain. River plains of Ganga Yamuna in India, Huanghe plain in northern China, Lombardy plain formed by Po river in Italy are the unique examples of alluvial plains. You very well heard this name. The plains of Ganga Yamuna in India is the unique example of this depositional plains. When plains are formed with the deposition of alluvial in the lakes, then they are called lake fields. Now, when the alluvial is deposited in the lakes, then these are called lake fields. Kashmiri Valley is an example of lake field in India. Kashmiri Valley is also a lake field, and it is the best example of these lake fields. Now let's move forward to importance of plains. Places of human habitation and trade commerce are established in the fertile plains. Now because the soil is alluvial of these plains, so these plains are so much fertile that they are the places of human habitat and also the trade commerce. Flat plains have proved more useful for road routes and rail routes. These flat plains are good for roads and rail routes. These are formed in the road routes and rail routes are formed in these plains. Means they are very useful for road routes and rail routes, which are the important for our traveling of human habitation from one place to another. Cities having dense population are situated in the plains. Cities are also developed in plains, so dense population is situated, and as already I told you that this is a plains are the most important for that these are the places of human habitation. Fertile land is more useful for farm production. Now, fertile land is necessary for crop production. So, due to this, the more population lives on plains because it is plains are very fertile and useful for farm production, also for growing crops. Farm produce supplies raw materials for the industries. So the material produced from these farms, it supplies raw material for the industries. Now, apart from these mountains, plateaus and plains, there are some other kinds of landforms also. Let's study in detail about that landforms too. So let's start with the bay. Usually a part of an ocean's water is called bay. They take shape like huge and wide lake surrounded by the land. The bays can be large and small in size. Now what is bay? Bay is a part of an ocean's water which takes huge and wide shape of huge and wide lake which is surrounded by land. Bays can be large or can be small in size. Bay of Bengal in India is the best example of the bay. Next is Gulf. When watery area is surrounded by the land from three sides, it is called Gulf. When the piece of land, when the watery area is surrounded by the land from three sides, means one side is of water and three sides it is surrounded by land, it is called Gulf. Gulf of Khambat and Gulf of Kutch are the best examples of the Gulf. Next is Cape. Cape is a perpendicular end of land that extends into the water body. Now the piece of land which extends to the water body is known as cape, and it is also can be known as sea line. For example, Kanyakumari in India and Cape of Good Hope in Africa. These are the best examples of cape. Next is island. A piece of land that is surrounded by water from all four sides is known as island. Now, island is a piece of land which is surrounded by water from all the four sides. Means a piece of land which is between the water body is known as island. For example, Lakshadweep Island, Andaman and Nicobar Island, Shankhodwar, Bet Dwarka, Pirambet, Shialbet, etc. are the best examples of islands. Next is isthmus. A narrow piece of land which separates two water areas is called isthmus. Now, isthmus is a piece of land which separates water area into two parts. For example, Panama. Panama between North and South America is the best example of isthmus. Now next is peninsular. A piece of land which is surrounded by sea from three sides and connected with land on one is called peninsular. Now, a piece of land which is surrounded by water bodies from the three sides and only one side is land, it is called peninsular. For example, South India, Saurashtra. These are the examples of peninsular. Now, I already taught you that in Gulf there is a one side water and three side lands. In island, all the four sides are water and in between a piece of land, means a piece of land surrounded by water from all the four sides. And in peninsula, a piece of land which is surrounded by water by the three sides. So don't be confused in Gulf, island and peninsula. Mostly in peninsular and Gulf, Gulf is a piece of we can say a water area which surrounded by land from three sides, and a peninsular is a piece of land which surrounded by water from the three sides. Okay, clear? I hope you all have understood this chapter very well. So I conclude the chapter here, and if you have any query or any doubt regarding this chapter, feel free to ask in interactive query session. We will meet soon with the next chapter of SS. Till then, bye bye, take care.